Hey y'all, coming back to you again today, Piche's Perspective. One of the things that the Lord has been sharing with me is really just the category of breakthrough seasons. I believe one of the things that we struggle with just as humans in general is really just going through agony, going through any type of pain. One of the things that we do is we always try to avoid discomfort. I know me, for myself, one of the deep-seated idols that I deal with in my life, going through tons of curriculum and reading many books, is I realize I love comfort. I love comfort foods. I love being comfortable. I love my lazy boy chair. I like being able to pull up to a garage and just open up the door, come right in, just sit down and just relax. I love comfort. That's a deep-seated idol I have in me. So I have to work very hard to get rid of my idols. I make myself wake up at 4 a.m. every day, certain things like that. I do things not because I'm very disciplined, but because I have to be that way to fight against that idol. And one of the things that idol does in my life is it always brings me up to the point whenever I'm about to go through a breakthrough, and it always wants to break me down or bring me to a melting point. Like, it wants to break me down, but the very melting point, when I begin to go through these fires and these trials, we know that that's actually what produces the diamonds in our life, right? That's the good stuff of life. Like, that's what produces the good things that won't burn up at the end. You know, the Bible says that wood, hay, and stubble is going to be burnt up, right? But the things that last, right? That's what God's looking for. And I think a lot of times what the Lord has been showing me lately is that our breakthrough point is literally on the vertical horizontal line coming up. Is going to be it's right during my breakdown point. And one of the things that it does, I've watched my life kind of teeter-totter between my breakdown and my breakthrough. And what's running parallel, that horizontal line, like I was mentioning, is always my history and my destiny. And, you know, in life, you're going to have a lot of people that are either trying to call out your history or call out your destiny all the time, right? And we do that to ourselves. Like, you know, we do it to ourselves, or, you know, and it's okay to go back into our history again sometimes and pull on some good things, but a lot of times we want to go back and we start beating ourselves up, or, you know, we'll get into shame, fear, guilt, condemnation, all those types of things based on, hey, what did I do in my history, or what did I do in my past, and I don't think I'll ever get past this point. Like, I don't think I can get past this point. And that point, again, always break down, break through, and then that's what brings me into my destiny. So if you're tracking with me, really what that kind of creates is a cross, right? And I think that cross, or that bullseye, is what every believer is born with. I heard Stephen Furtick say this one time, that every believer is born with a bullseye on his back. You know, a lot of us are born with birthmarks, but I think the true birthmark of a believer is a bullseye on his back. And I think that bullseye does truly consist of your breakdown and your breakthrough, your destiny and your history. And if you can understand that going through, then you're going to be able to succeed walking into what God has for you. Now, part of that bullseye effect, or part of that cross effect too, is who God has placed in your life. Because you're always going to have mentors, right? You're always going to have your proteges, and you're always going to have those that are walking side by side with you. And I think that's one of the biggest keys to moving forward into whatever God's called you to do, is understanding who God has placed in your life for those specific times to help you move forward. Like, you know, part of that breakdown point is everybody has a Judas in their life, right? Even Jesus had a Judas. Well, sometimes God will use things like that to catalyze us into that next season or that next era. So he used Judas to catalyze him into that next step, right? But he also had the other 12 that walked with him. He was always being mentored. His father was always affirming him, and he was always growing people. We see this with Paul, right? Paul had his Barnabases. He had his Mark that he, hey, I don't need him, but then I do need him, right? He had his Timothys. He had his Lukes. He had all these people above him and below him and beside him that were training him up and moving him forward. One of the things that I've learned through reading a few leadership books is that if you take anybody out of their element, right, or out of their team element, say if you got a basketball team, you have the 1 through 5 position. If I mix, the number 5 and I put him in that 1 spot, and say I put the 2 in the 4 spot, and I just kind of mix them all up, I don't care if you take the best starting team and you mix them up in their wrong position. If you put them up against any other team that knows where to play their positions, they're going to lose because they're not in their complete element. So I want you to think about, as you're going into your destiny, as you hit those breaking points, going into your breakthrough points, make sure that you have team members that understand their lane and let you walk in your lane in order to call out your destiny, not your history. because if you continue to live in your history all the time, you'll never be able to go completely into your destiny. So get to that breakthrough point, push through it, allow God to guide you through that, and then understand your position on your team, that it's always an up and down and a cross, right? There's always blessing up, blessing down, and all around. So I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.